All right, lights, camera, action, and we will call this meeting of the Dummerston Selectboard to order. And first business would be to approve, review and approve the minutes of the previous meeting of June 12th. Review and approve bills for payment 26, 26P, CC8, RB10, and CFA.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes.
On the minutes, the letter that Steve wrote, I think we should take that out of the minutes, actually, of being part of the minutes. It's in public record, the letter. I don't think we need to put letters, the full letter in there. You know, I mean, just something saying that Steve wrote a letter would be, I think.
Okay, how do we, if someone says, I want this entered into the...
No, I mean,
how do
well, you don't need to enter it into the minutes. You just have to it's part of public record.
Okay.
It's there. And I don't think Steve asked to have it put as the whole thing. It's as public record, all it was.
I remembered asking Steve if you want to email that to me, I'll put it in the minutes.
Right, yep.
So we did, but
I just think, I don't think we need to put full letters into the minutes.
Okay. What would you like to do, gentlemen?
Should it be just an attachment, you mean, that
Yeah,
if somebody
that's all.
wanted to see it?
Yeah.
So in the future, it would just be an attachment, and then the minutes would reflect that there's an attachment of a letter.
Or, yes, a
written
letter.
to somebody?
The letter, you can say that the letter's on record.
Yes,
Right.
and the gist of the letter that it was in commending the EOC.
Or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's all that should be in the,
Right.
Yes, yeah. So we have
I'll make a friendly amendment to myself
all right.
to just have the minutes show that Steve wrote a letter commending the emergency management, and there's a letter attached.
Yep.
Yeah, I second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, I mean, you got
of the friendly amendment, you mean?
you got other comments, though?
Yes.
I just had a comment that in the past you used to approve the minutes and then you used to approve the warrants. And I know in the past I've had comments on the minutes and you've gone through them so quickly that the public didn't get a chance to comment. And I just want to make sure that the public always had a chance to comment on the
Okay.
minutes. I have no comments on the warrants because I don't know what it is, but
Okay.
often there's comments on the minutes.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
No,
on
not
this?
today.
Oh,
I
okay,
just-
fine. Good.
So it's a good time to
Usually
make it.
I think you're usually pretty good about raising your hand.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Then
On the amendment?
on the amendment? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right.
And now we have to vote on the minutes amended, on the motion is amended, right?
Yes. So,
I have one question of Lori first.
Okay.
Did I send you an electronic copy of that, Lori? Do you have that?
Of the minutes?
No, of Steve's letter. That are in the minutes. I guess you could take it out of there.
I have it scanned electronically because I sent it to members of the emergency management team.
Okay, is that good enough? So you
Yeah.
don't- Okay,
Yep, it's fine.
that's it.
okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Then we'll move on to recognition of visitors and public comments.
I've been very quiet. Some of the things that I wanted to bring up are not on the agenda, but I thought from the last meeting they would. Bill was going to check with Lou on that.
I think that would maybe come under other business.
Okay, and Joe was going to check.
And I think that would also come
Okay.
under other business.
And so when the West River Trail comes up, I do have something else to say. And then the other
Okay.
thing, I
Don't
thought,
forget, just raise your hand.
don't forget, I
Yeah.
won't, don't worry.
And I'll try to go slowly enough that you have
The
time.
other thing that's not on the agenda is the applications for the DRB and the Planning Commission. And I would wonder if you would ask this fine gentleman, it's for a next meeting, but if you would ask this fine gentleman sitting over next to me, if he could kind of put that in his article so that people who might not read the website or what, or direct them to the
Or watch
website, or watch the
our
TV
viewers across the school
might be able to
station.
pick up on it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I got for now.
Okay, stand by for more later. It's early in the evening yet, but do we have any other comments from the public? All right. We have Dana Shepherd here. Would you like to, if Lee is...
I wasn't sure if you were gonna bury me.
If everyone's all right.
Into the back, because I know I wasn't on the minute, on the warning. Didn't have a problem waiting as long as you wanted me to.
Well, maybe don't say that, because we could then be...
That's okay. I called late today to make, because I finally knew that I would make it without any delay, so I was a little late. I thought the office had called earlier in the day, and they kind of...
It's 20 after 4.
Yeah, so when I called the office and say, did you call them early to let them know? I got the word that, oh, we hadn't, and we're calling them now. Which I was actually surprised anybody responded. I could be dead air, I'd be walking into nothing with a surprise, so.
Right. No, we're here.
Yeah, so
Every
sorry,
Wednesday.
I kind of known I've gotten to learn the schedule a little bit, so just want to come in and check with the board. I know it's the end of our year. We haven't had a lot going on with us, well, for Dummerston, we haven't had a lot going on for us here, but we've been, I don't know how to put this, we've been like a Band-Aid for a system, the mental health system, for the last 3 months, so we've been extremely busy working on something 24/7, so it's taken a lot of our people away. We've had a very large reduction across the board on our patrols, so.
Right. I saw the bill for May was for 3 hours of coverage.
I'm not, I think I looked to double check and I'm not surprised. I had the supervisor's pager for about a month and a half through the month of May. I actually had to replace the batteries a couple times. I know in this month of June, we finally stopped patient watch about a week ago, so our guys are back out on the road. So you will see a jump here in the last couple of weeks. The problem we have is that, I don't know if everyone's familiar with the media, how I've been talking about the mental health system, but it's sort of broken, the best way to put it. The sheriff's department has become the Band-Aid to help when people can't go into beds. They sit in the emergency rooms. And when they sit in the emergency rooms, if they're the more acute, the more in-need patients, they have to put deputies on. And we set 2 deputies per patient, and we're responsible for the entire southern Vermont, Rutland, Windsor, Wyndham, and Bennington. So we have guys sitting in Springfield, Brattleboro, capable of sitting even in Rutland or Bennington if we're told to. So since May, I know we've been on them continuously. So that took away including myself, the captain. I think maybe the only one who didn't set any patients was the sheriff. So we've had a huge reduction. Right now, the sergeant's trying to push everybody back out on the road that's not on those watches anymore. I think today there was someone here most of the day. I believe Brett Gaylor was in town today. So the problem we have is we can't gauge them, we can't plan for them. We have pagers, and when the pager goes off, they say, we have a patient here, you need to go here, and it goes on indefinitely. So we've had to, it's really hurt our patrol time. So that's probably why you're seeing that 3-hour time, is there was no patrol. Officers were only able to come out for officer safety issues, or the ones that we could get out on the road were only coming out to do the complaints that were being called into the office, so they were being directed to answer the complaints first. To get those, because people were calling saying, can you come? The only town that gets service 24/7 for the most part without any interruption is Putney. Because Deputy Martin is in Putney, she lives there, she works there. She does not do patient watches. I mean, it has to be a very big emergency where there's just nobody before we can take her from Putney. So the downside to now even more is that on July 1st, one of our more reliant people that sits on patient watches is going to become the Westminster full-time deputy. So we're already backfilling people. We're actually hiring more people because of these patient watches. We've got to. Two deputies a day who could sit in as many as 2 hospitals at the same time, 24/7. We've got to. I mean, it's not as easy as hiring tomorrow and putting them on. Hiring them today, putting them on tomorrow. So it's slow.
Anyone have any questions?
Were you able to stop at the school you were going to stop?
We did. We actually put our radar card out. I was able to come out 2 days
Oh, thank you.
to
Okay.
sit. People came, some of the neighbors came out, were walking the children down, said hello and thank you. And we did have Ian Tuttle come out a couple of times to sit there.
Okay.
But the cart was there. It didn't get put exactly where I asked him to put it. I wanted Joe Carroll to be able to see the cart, to get an idea of what she's looking at. Because people like, you know, we have them all over these days, 50. We put the cart out. It slows them down,
Right.
and we get some idea of what's going on. So they put it too far away from our office, and no one could see the screen, unless you were the one driving in your car going by the sign. So I just wanted it in a different spot, but when they put it out, they put it beyond her office. But it did stay there for a week.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't gonna mention it, but here's the frustrating part about that cart being out there. Day I go by, there's a deputy pulling up, going to the north end of the parking lot. There's a state trooper in the parking lot. And the cars are coming down and that blue light's flashing. And they're going 30 miles an hour. 32 was one of them. In a way, they just kept going. And there's a deputy sitting there. Blue light flashing. Nothing. I don't see what the purpose was.
That is there. It's there to monitor the speeds that you're seeing through that area. We can download that information, and it helps us to locate the times of the speeders. But if you're seeing a speed of 32 and a 25, we're not stopping them.
Well, and see, that's, I guess, the problem. School was letting out. That's why I was there.
Yep.
And, you know, I've always said a lot of people complain about the speeds in town because it's around their house. And if it was not when school was letting out, the 32 really wouldn't have bothered me. But you got a deputy sitting right there. He has to see that thing flashing.
Sure.
School is letting out. I'm walking my son on the road. I see the car coming, so I said, well, let's see how fast that car is going, and it's flashing. I'm on the road, my son's on the road, nothing. That's a little frustrating. Why bother? Why bother? I mean, if you're not going to do it when, at least when school is letting out and you have a deputy there, I would say you'd want to pull somebody over.
The problem we have is that the sheriff has a very strict policy about speeding. If we stop you for speeding, you get a ticket. You get a ticket.
I would think.
What happens is, if we write a ticket for 7 over and we bring it to a judge, he'll dismiss it. It costs more to process that through the system, using everybody, our office, the state's office. In the end, you lose money. You actually lose because you're using all those people to process all that paperwork. It makes an impact on the operator. You've written that ticket to them. You hope they slow down. But in the end, when you come into the court, it's a 7-mile-an-hour ticket, and you take the time to process that, the state's actually backwards.
So how fast can I go before you're going to
10.
pull me over? 10 miles an hour.
So,
I mean, that's...
And it's officer discretion. It can be more, it can be less. The problem we have is that we don't give warnings for speeding. We don't.
Oh.
I'm not asking you to give a warning,
So-
but I give the ticket. And you know what? If it goes to court, it goes to court.
Because and I know in Dummerston, this town particularly, we've done that. We have actually come in here and done a 0 tolerance, but it ended up becoming, well, no, you got to give 3 miles an hour for the mechanical, you got to give 3 miles an hour for human error. Now you're at 6 miles an hour, and we actually went out and did that, and what came back to the town and came back to the sheriff's department was just bad. It was negative. It was terrible. We tried that.
Well, I guess I'm not... here's the thing. I guess I'm talking when school is letting out is when it's an issue. Where it should be an issue. You're talking safety at that point. And if anything else, the guy should have been pulled over and at least talked to. I mean...
how about this? If there were flashing yellow down there when school is letting out or starting up, and reduce that speed limit to 20.
But, well, the thing is, Bill, is here's the blue light. Here's the blue light flashing, and this person didn't slow. Because when you slow, you can see people. They come down and the blue light, because the little blue light flashes once you go over 25.
on the
On the car.
On the
I'm not
car.
disagreeing
But-
with anything you're saying, just saying that a possible solution is to reduce the speed limit in that specific area so that 10 miles over is going to still be reasonably slow, but also get you a ticket.
Well, I wouldn't even mind if the guy get a warning. I don't care. I mean, I'm just saying.
And we used to do it. I mean, there were times, because it goes back, remember when we were here doing that whole 6 mile an hour, I mean, the whole deal to get that was, and we did it, and it was a disaster. So we ended up saying, no, there's got to be, we're human, there's got to be an error there. People can't be perfect. You say 5, but then we allow 6. Well, then you say 6, but now it becomes 7. I mean, it's just like raising the speed limit on the highway. We used to be 55, we made it 65. Well, guess what? Now everybody's driving 85. It's just this huge yo-yo back and forth of how do we cut off the line to say, okay, this guy gets a ticket every time.
If I can say something, to pull someone over, especially in front of the school, and at least give them a warning. The other cars driving by see, ooh,
Absolutely.
a guy.
My thought would be is if the officers that there
They
parked,
don't know that,
Right.
well, this guy's not going to get a ticket, and they're thinking, gee, I don't have an extra $200 to drop on a speeding.
and that's what happens. When we used to give all the
I'll
warnings,
be-
it became a problem because now everybody's like, well, why, you give me a warning. No, I'm not giving you a warning. You were doing 12 over. Well, last time I was doing 10, but you gave me a warning. Or we get people who've been warned 6 times, but not warned by the sheriff, or warned by the trooper, warned by the sheriff, warned by a PD somewhere for doing speeding. How many warnings do you give this person? You say 1, 2. No, now you put back in the officer's discretion over when does this officer decide he's going to write this ticket? Now, how many warnings? And what we found is the sheriff went through and looked prior to his administration was how many warnings were officers giving out versus how many tickets were they writing. And it was astronomical. We couldn't believe it. And the sheriff said, "That's it. You're done. We're writing for speeding. Period. No warnings. None." And it takes away any of this. Okay, I know this person, so I'm going to give him a warning. I don't know this person, so guess what? He's from Connecticut. I'm giving him a ticket. It's all gone now. You write the ticket, which now officers have said 10 miles an hour. If I'm giving a ticket every time, we know that gets us into court, which is where people want to go, it's going to end up costing more for that. And judges notice this. They know, they see the math. And a judge is free to do whatever he wants with that ticket without the officer has no control over it. You could go in there with a 10 mile an hour ticket, he could just flat out dismiss it with no say whatsoever. Or he could just lower the fine. Leave the ticket the way it was, but lower the fine. And the officer, again, just sitting at the table, and we have no ability, unless we want to now go to criminal court with this and actually appeal it. Now you're going, and I have one right now, a ticket at 12 over. She is taking it into criminal court. We may actually end up in a jury trial over speeding. So now what do we do? Does the state decide we're going to fight this and spend the money? And luckily it's only one. I have not had more than that. I've had just the one. But it's a potential. So every officer, when he writes the ticket, has to decide what limit do I put on when I write a ticket. I mean, so there are officers out there, I can't tell you, they're troopers and officers of, some say 15. Some say 12. There's no guideline that tells every officer in the state what point you write this ticket for, when. But I see the point of that officer standing. He could have at least been standing outside of his car with a handheld or with the radar cart and see somebody come at 32 and just waves at them or say slow down. Doesn't necessarily have to stop them in the road. But that person driving by sees that blinking blue light and the officer standing there and now says, oh. Because my theory is that there's a radar cart there, it isn't just going to get left there to be left there. I'm going to go out and sit with that cart and I'm going to actually end up writing tickets. Because if you speed to me with a handheld or my car mounted radar and that radar cart tells you you're speeding too, you're getting a ticket, period. There's just no way around it. You've been told, you give them a warning. The sign tells you how fast you're going. If you still don't slow down, you then come to me and you're still speeding, there's an issue there. So the deputy in the school, he shouldn't have been in a parking lot. He should have been down near the cart doing some radar. But at 32 miles an hour, he's not going to stop that car.
Dan, I wanted to ask you about your staffing concerns with sheriffs being in the deputies being in some of the outlying counties. Do you have a contract with those counties to provide care for patients in the hospitals?
What's happened is that Department of Mental Health has contracts with departments. Wyndham County, the Chief Sheriff Clark, he's a huge proponent of mental health system. He has signed a contract with them saying that we will provide the service to you at a fee like any other contract. And this is happening throughout the state. Monroe County is another one. But the sheriffs have become the Band-Aid because if there's no bed for that patient, they have to go somewhere. But these are people who are not just, I walk in and check myself and I want help. These are people who've been brought in, usually forcibly. Sometimes they're violent, threatening, they're dangerous. They can be dangerous. We have to sit on them. So the sheriffs have signed these contracts.
Well, I understand that, but my question is why would Wyndham County contract, to provide coverage in Rutland, for instance. That doesn't seem very efficient to have.
Well, we don't
your
alone.
staff.
We won't alone. Like in Windsor County and Springfield,
Yeah.
we are responsible for fulfilling those. So if we call Windsor County and say we need help in Springfield, they'll tell us, well, they have 3 people to do it. We're still responsible for filling the other slots.
So how big an area, does your contract cover?
The sheriff has said we will cover the 4 southern counties: Rutland, Windsor, Bennington, and Wyndham.
Okay.
But we have gotten a call to go sit on a patient in Berlin.
Wow.
We got the call. I actually got the call myself, and I was like, no, there is no way Wyndham County is driving deputies to Berlin, Vermont to sit on. And the sheriff agreed. I mean, obviously, there's logistical issues there. There's safety issues. There's supervision issues. But we've got to now fill and backfill our bodies to help. And now, of course, we're losing one of them to go to the Westminster contract, which is something we've worked with Westminster to do.
Right.
So we have people to do them, but it takes the people that we have as well, like the patrol people, to help. And I've been doing them. The on-call. I've gone out on weekends to help. We've gone out at night. My phone rings at home all the time asking for help. We also get mental health transports. So when these patients are ready to be moved somewhere, there's a people the sheriff's department has to move. So we prefer not to move them. We ask them if this is a person who's safe to be moved through their own system, do it. But only call the sheriffs if it is an immediate, security necessity. So that's what happens. This used to never be an issue. 3 or 4 months ago, we would sit on a patient like this once every 4 or 5 months, maybe. When the hospital went away, but then the system set up to do these patients with these smaller facilities, they'd open a small one, and as soon as they opened it, it's full.
So could I say that we're correct in saying that we got 3 hours of coverage
Yes.
for May?
You did.
So when I think, I'll speak for myself, but when we sign a contract, we think that we're going to get more than
Right.
3 hours of coverage a month. And that if the resources are being, I realize the sheriff has to, fund the sheriff's department. But I think we would have an expectation that we would get more than 3 hours a month. And that you're being asked to go to Berlin.
Which we didn't do.
Yeah,
That's,
okay.
yeah, that's a long way to
Rutland, that it seems like we're getting not what we expected.
Right, but I have to say that it's not happening all the time. I mean, this started in only May, and here's June, and we've already begun to fix that problem.
Okay.
Nobody could predict what this did. I mean, there was no way that I guess just said we used to never do this.
Yeah.
Once every few months.
Okay, so we
For
won't
some
see a
reason,
repeat
yeah.
of the 3
Once this thing
hours.
kicked in, we went nonstop. We were doing 12-hour shifts, 2 men. It caught us with not enough people.
Okay.
So now that we've begun to fill those positions up, I mean, we're hiring. You want to apply, we will hire qualified, and we train. This isn't just you come off the street, we're going to give you a blue uniform, here you go, sit on the patient. These are people we're going to put through the training first, but we have the bodies to do it. We just have to now figure out how to fill our normal responsibilities of the contracts. So it's taken us a month to get it done, but we've been doing that. And you will see now June, it's going to go back up to where it should be.
Okay.
Well, I'd sort of like to not see it all happen in one day either. I mean,
No,
all of a sudden you
no.
said you had a guy out there all day today.
Today, yes.
I think it'd be wise to spread it out
Yeah.
instead of saying, well, we haven't done it, so let's do it all in a
Right.
couple days.
And it happened today. We had one up in Jamaica. I mean, we had people that came off those watches. We wanted to put them back out on the road. These towns, like you had said, hadn't seen us. We need to get back out where we needed to be and doing the things that because we were just filling the contract as far as the complaint.
Right.
People called us and said, I got an issue here. We would go there, take care of it, but then we'd have to go back to another town and take care of this complaint that came in. So we were jumping around.
One other thing, I was told that the sheriff responded to an animal, someone complaining about someone's dog on Black Mountain Road. And I didn't think the sheriff was doing animal control.
No, because
So it's sort of saved to this one resident?
he might have been near there or on his way through that area and something came in, but we haven't been doing them as far as complaints.
Mhm.
Like one day we got a call there, we were dealing with a dog over by exit 4 that was running around. We were just doing it because the dog was in the road trying to figure where it was going. But
Okay.
no one that I'm aware of called us to say, I have a problem, can you come deal with this? Our call would have been, have you called animal control, have you talked to somebody about this issue first?
Okay.
Then if the town calls and says, no, we need you to help us with this, then we would. But it's got to go through the proper channel first.
Right.
Or we stumble on it. I mean, you just can stumble on something as well, and we can't ignore it. We'll deal with it, but there's a way we're supposed to do this, not just make people, because we do say to them, you need to call these people first. Then if the board comes and says, we need help, then we can help.
Yeah, that's the way I thought it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and if you're saying the sheriff, that meant, like, I'm thinking the Sheriff Clark, but if you mean the deputy in general.
The people, the residents referred to being visited by the sheriff, so I don't
Okay.
think they made the distinction.
That happens all the time. People say the sheriff, and we have to think,
Right,
is it
right.
actually the sheriff? or
Anyone
was it?
in the car that
Yes,
says...
because it says sheriff right across the side of it, so we just assume it. I hope it's a deputy, because if the sheriff's going to a complaint, usually I or the sergeant, someone gets a phone call about why he's out there dealing with a complaint, so I
Okay.
hope not. I hope if it was dealt with, it should have been dealt with appropriately. I would hope.
I think we'll hear more about it.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Any other questions from the
No.
select board? We have one question. Jody Norman?
Well, this is a coincidence because I just
I just
emailed.
got an email today from him. I actually checked into it already, so.
Okay.
So, from Route 5 to the flat, you know, Wendell's before Steve's, is unbelievable. And I got a license plate today for the first time. Somebody flying by me is going 35 miles an hour, so I shipped off the license plate to Dana. You know, the other day it was a big old Jeep Cherokee type thing that went flying going the other way. So both directions on that flat, I'd like to see a little bit of support there. And I also said to him, I haven't seen the sheriff for months. Well, I guess maybe that's why.
Now the flats, that down by the sugar house and all that, by the.
Well, you get Route 5
Yep.
to the White Colonial before you
Oh,
get to the
okay.
Sugar House, which
Yeah.
is Steve's.
Okay.
That flat, both ways,
I got you.
people, and it's a double line, but I always thought you couldn't pass on a double line, but learned that doesn't mean anything. And they go flying by you there. And usually you can't get a plate, but
You did today.
I got a plate today.
And it does come back. Usually people do that, it doesn't come back to anything, but this time it did. So we actually have something to look for. But
Okay, so if we could, you
Are
know,
you
get
looking
some,
for, you said you were looking for more deputies?
we are.
Jody needs something to do.
I haven't responded back to it yet, but I
Wednesday nights, every
I
night.
have some.
oh, no, Steve.
I'll write a letter.
Letter of recommendations, I bet.
Oh, you would?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. We all like those.
Some-
I don't know.
And I want to
That's my
report,
color.
I want to report on how she does in the training.
You're looking at, I can come right back to you, and do everything you need to know.
I will say, I have seen the sheriff car. I saw him up on Sunset Lake Road when I was going to deliver
Oh,
one
really?
this week. And I did see somebody on Middle Road yesterday, I think it was, maybe. But
Might have been me.
So I was surprised to see somebody up on Sunset Lake. That was a week ago, maybe.
We have been trying to, like a lot of our cars, we've been trying to disperse them out to people's homes more than just keeping them near the office too. So
That's good. That's
as
a good
people are
idea.
moving about,
Yeah.
plus everybody likes them in their neighborhoods, which
Yeah.
is a good thing to have. There's no reason for them sitting anywhere. So we've been helping giving them out to people to use to go to jobs and stuff. So.
We better let Dana get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I get to go home and
Okay.
wait for the phone to ring.
All right, well, take her with you.
Ah,
And
yeah.
that's how you get rid of me, Dana.
Drag her out here. I can see her now. I'll hear the yippee outside as I'm leaving. Or something. All right,
Hey,
well, thank
this
you.
guy's a race car driver, I read in the
Yeah,
paper,
yeah.
so you ought to watch him.
At least I'm still in one piece. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Dana.
Of course.
Well, the road foreman's report, we're really going to have to make up for some lost time.
Great
Oh, we'll start with some little bit of savings. The state, I guess, is going to do all the class 2 yellow lines again this year. So we had actually put in $3,000 in the budget for those for next year. So there'll be some savings there. They didn't say actually when they're gonna do it, they just wanted to know when the paving was done.
Yeah.
The tractor, I talked with Pinnacle View. It's supposed to be in at Pinnacle View at the end of this week, and then maybe next week we might receive it. So the paving. Paving was complete Monday. We are going to do some shoulder work with Lane, hopefully tomorrow, to try to take care of that little step on the south side of the road. We're going to actually put down some loam and seed and mulch it up through there. All right, Renard gravel pit. Steve and I met down there, walked around the project. We ended up getting the top all cleared off. We're working on doing some stumping, seeding, mulching. The road's built so we can go down in behind ABF all the way down into S&B's. We're just waiting for word from Zaluzny on when we're going to crush. There has been a couple complaints, and I'm hoping we can get those worked out as far as getting the complaints maybe right when they're happening, and then we can kind of take care of them right then instead of having them round and round on emails and those kind of things. But I think we're making progress on that.
It looked like, Lee, through emails that circulated this week, like you've got that figured out. They'll let you know right away, and
Yep.
Yeah,
and Renard's, I guess, have got a couple in the last couple days too, and I just let them know that get a name and a number, and I'd meet with them and try to get them figured out, you know. I'm sure there's going to be a few of those. It's just a matter of new traffic patterns. Okay, there's a grant for Better Back Roads. We've got probably 3 or 4 of them in the past, and I'm hopeful to apply for another one to do some ditching on Middle Road. The grant has to be submitted by the 15th of July. So I don't know if we actually, I guess we'll all have it ready for next meeting. Anyways.
your face says that's the favorite part of your job.
Yeah.
Getting those ready.
That grant's actually a pretty good grant.
Okay.
The cemetery, we did get it stumped, seeded, and mulched. I believe everything went good. I didn't go over there after this heavy rain last night, so, but it should be pretty good. And the last thing I had on here was the budget. We haven't completed our crushing or hauling out of all our gravel for this year. So what we need, or I would like to do, is prepay Renard Gravel for the gravel and Zaluzny for the crushing. If we go with the budget numbers, what's in the budget, it would be for Renard Gravel $4,900 and Zaluzny for $8,400. And that would leave us a surplus in the highway fund of around $20,384. Let me know if I get some of these wrong, Laurie.
No, you're right so far.
All right. But I would like to prepay for an extra 1,200 yards for each. So that would be $9,100 for gravel and $12,600 for Zaluzny for crushing. And this would make the surplus in the highway budget $11,984.42.
The last number again was?
Rather than over 20?
Yes, yeah, it'd make, yeah, $11,984.42.
42 cents gonna break you.
Yeah, we just went with an even yardage, that's why it might be.
So Lee, you remember the discussion we had with Zaluzny on this? Is he, would he, you suppose he, have you talked to him, see if he'd crush the extra for the same price?
If we went over 6,000 yards, if we went, like, if we crushed 8 or 7,500 yards, I would hope he would, but
See,
I
remember there was a
Yep.
trade-off between them guys for that
Yep.
original amount?
Yep,
That would be my only
right.
sticker with, if we budgeted this much and,
The good thing with budgeting it, even if you only want to crush 6,000 yards,
right, yeah, you could take
this
it
year,
back.
it would be just next spring.
Yeah.
This extra would be right there for crushing, and it would make the budget, making out next year's budget.
Well, if you're approving this expenditure, it has to be written. The check has
Yes.
to be written this year.
Yes,
So, and they would actually have it on
Yeah.
account then.
yeah. But the, so with Zaluzny's, like, if we actually wrote them 12,600, that would only crush, well, divide that by 350. So we're gonna actually add that 12,600 to this year's budget. You know, this coming year's budget.
No,
Yeah.
no, we can't do that. You can't, you have to actually extend it in
Oh,
this
yes,
fiscal
right.
year.
Yes.
You can't just say you're gonna pay it in July. It has to be paid
Right
by
now.
June 30th.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we actually pay this right now, this amount.
The 12,600.
Yes.
And we budgeted 8,400 anyway,
Yes.
so
Yes. So when they do the crushing, they're gonna owe us the total.
Right, they're going to owe us the gravel,
Yes.
crushing.
Ideally, it's been working out perfect the last few years that we've been doing it in May, so it's,
Right.
we're actually ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But since this has got put off, we're,
and I think it's a good idea. I wish we knew. I mean, I guess the worst case scenario is you'd have Zaluzny crush a few less yards, so
right.
we just stop at this dollar amount. My suspicion is he'd do it, but I just remember Zeke negotiating pretty hard with him that day. And Severance
Yep.
was working the whole deal out, so.
Yeah, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Just we need to be aware of that, that's all.
Yep, yep, and I will, if we do decide to add this money, I'll just talk to him, and if he only wants to do the 6,000 yards at 350. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Dinner's ready.
so,
So Gloria,
this is not additional, money that we're raising, this is surplus from the highway.
from this year.
This is
right.
surplus from, yes, from the highway
Yeah.
fund.
Mhm.
Yep.
So the motion would be for the increase or for the total, it's actually for the total amount, right? Because we're changing the years.
The motion should be to approve a payment in the amount of $9,100 to Renault Gravel
Yeah.
and
Okay.
$12,600 to Zaluzny.
Not just a different budget, yeah. okay.
Right.
You've already paid for some of the gravel then? You paid the $8,400?
No, we didn't want to cut a check, and then, because we knew this discussion was coming.
So it would actually be a motion to approve for $21,000 for crushing.
No,
No, that's a mistake I made too. Lee wanted the total of $12,600 for crushing.
that's all we're gonna prepay.
Right.
So it's 4,200 more than what you had originally expected.
Yes.
Okay, because in our budget for next year, we had budgeted for, what was it?
Okay, so it's the whole four figures added together.
6,000 yards, yeah, and so, all right.
So you want a motion for $9,100 for gravel
Yes,
and $12,600 for crushing for this year,
yes, please.
to be paid before June 30th.
By the end of this week?
I'll move that we pay Renault $9,100 for gravel and Zaluzny $12,600 for crushing.
I'll second that. As long as Lori explains it to me one more time.
Okay,
How are we approving 21,000 and we have an overage of 20,000 and we still end up with 11? What, am I just missing the budgeted
no,
amount?
right now, without paying Renault or Zaluzny anything right now, we have a surplus of $33,684
Oh,
in the
I had
highway
29.
budget.
Okay, I had 29. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay. And then if we pay the 9,100 plus the 12,600,
Okay.
it will bring the surplus down to 1184.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
For some reason I didn't have that high number to start with.
So how will you have any accountability on how much you're getting? You know what you budgeted this year at what figure, but now you're paying more. How will you determine how much more you're getting at what price?
We should.
You're hoping it's going to be the same,
I
but
mean,
it
it
might
should
we
be
have
at
a
the
con-
same price.
We have a
Gravel will be
contract
the same
price for the
price.
gravel.
We'll just be
Gravel.
getting,
Right.
And the crushing?
The crushing, we have a contract price for the 6,000 yards.
Yeah.
At 350.
Right.
But for the additional amount,
We're not sure if we can do 350 a yard, but what Lee's saying is that
whatever it
he'll
is.
do however many yards he can.
Got it. Okay.
Knowing Steve, he probably will make it work. It's just, we need to double check.
And
Exactly.
actually, it's not, I mean, the 12,600, according to my calculations, is 3,600 yards.
yeah.
Correct? So that's not going over the 6,000, that 350.
Where this is that we actually, when we do the crushing, we're gonna be spending out of the next year's budget too.
Right.
So that's what gets added to that, and that's
Right.
why it brings stuff to
Okay.
6,000.
All right,
But,
we should have a chalkboard.
yeah, I know, it's,
And we
Big
will, and we
calculation.
will send a letter with it, with the check stating
Yes,
that this is what it's for.
just not gratuity.
Right, yeah.
thanks for being around.
Yeah, right.
And you've been visiting with Steve anyway, you'll just have to
Yeah, oh, I think it'd be fun.
twist it a little bit for the extra, yeah.
If you need a little muscle to make the deal, give me a call.
Okay. Perfect.
So we've got a motion, we've got it seconded. Any more discussion? Well, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, it's been approved.
It's easy, probably.
Yeah.
If you're finished, I would just like to ask about the nature of the complaints at Renault Gravel Pit. Is it noise? Is it traffic patterns, the timing? What?
Steve can go over a couple of them because he's received a couple, but mine, what I heard today was, and I look at complaints if they don't leave their name or if they aren't willing to say where it happened, that it's pretty much not a complaint. So I'm still trying to find information out about them, but it was a jake brake and speed. This is just, well, what I heard was in ABF parking lot, but they aren't from ABF, so it's still a
You have
lot
to go
of.
fast around that corner.
I know,
Yeah,
exactly.
parking lot.
So
So the question,
I really gotta do some more checking. I heard about a backup alarm.
Yeah.
And.
backup alarm, and then the fact that the log
Oh.
truck, the road was in such poor shape after all that rain behind ABF, that they ended up coming out through Hidden Acres with the logs. And there was quite a few loads of logs, and I just happened to be there that morning looking at a job at Public Commons, and there was some backup beepers which I thought was travel alarms, so The unfortunate thing right now, which it's pretty much over with other than stump it, Lee and I were
Yeah.
saying, but is they're all working at the same elevation. They aren't down in a pit. And so that noise is just a straight shot across. And until we get it stumped, and like Lee's gonna start working down in the face of the pit, and then you got a huge bank that'll deflect the
Thank you.
noise. But I think it was just trying to get the trees out of there and the stuff chipped. And the fact they came out through Hidden Acres, but they couldn't have gone the other way. It was a muddy mess.
They seem to be pretty understanding. of
Steve,
that.
I've been working with Steve Casabona, and Lee's gonna deal with him directly
Good.
to keep me out of the loop so it's faster. And I think Steve's real happy to work with Lee.
Thank you.
It's minor stuff, but
Right, we're trying to keep it under
Yeah.
control before it becomes more.
Anything else there on your dance card?
I didn't ask Lori, but, is tonight when you have to decide if the 11,000 goes into the surplus, or into the,
No, that's
no.
decided during
All right,
budget
okay,
season.
all right, perfect. I don't think I have anything.
Does anyone else on the board have questions for Lee?
no, I thought it was nice of Lee to grab me the other day, but we had a nice tour.
Yeah,
And that
that's
was
good.
time well spent.
Good. Jody Norman.
I just want to thank Lee for his quick response. I called him yesterday, somebody had dumped a rather large mattress on Kipling Road, and it's gone. He and his strong crew have picked it up. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm sure you don't like to do that all the time, but it was something that,
I don't like seeing them there anymore.
and it happened, I think, during broad daylight, because Steve, you never saw it that morning. I didn't see it when I went down, only when I came back, and, it's like it happened midday.
This might be the appropriate time. When I was here earlier today, I mentioned to Charlotte and Lauren, there's been a car for sale at the covered bridge for
Yes.
about a week now. And indeed, there is an ordinance on point. I asked how we deal with that, and apparently one of the select board members calls.
It's usually the junior member of the Is it that?
That's how we did
It's
it
a,
before.
yeah.
And I wasn't thinking. And I said, well, how do we find the number? And they said, well, it's usually on the side of the car.
Yes, you'll learn.
Quite often.
So I will make that.
That's pretty good, Jim.
Yeah, a lot of people will do that.
Right.
Good. If you'll take care of that,
Happy to.
excellent. Great. Good. Well,
Okay.
you're welcome
you.
to sit around.
Thank you again. Yes.
Thanks.
So we have correspondence. I'm not going to look out for a little while. But we have correspondence for information. BCA hearing. You see that the states let us know they're going to be doing some thinning and timber harvest at Chutton Pines. We have a few letters.
Actually, Zeke, on the BCA hearing,
Yes.
I apologize for being a minute late. I was doing the
I think that
inspection.
was 5 or 6 minutes.
No, it was less than that, but it was,
Quickly.
I was on town business doing the inspection of the property.
Good.
We're negotiating over who's going to write the report.
Okay.
That was predictable.
They elected
You're
me.
doing it.
They elected me, and you would have me there. And Kevin Ryan stepped up to the plate. So,
Good. Let's see, we have the treasurer's report. Do we want to?
I gave everyone a copy of the expenditure, revenue,
Yeah?
and balance sheets.
Mhm.
Do you just want to know what the projected surplus is for the general fund?
If anyone has any questions and
Yeah.
wants to go into this, that would be.
Well, I was going to ask that we put some more money aside for the sheriff's department, but I think I'll skip that.
I don't know how that would go over.
I guess I should have got the data ahead of time, shouldn't I? Yeah. Bad time to ask for more funds if they can't provide the service already. So. Lori, I have $30,084. Was that close, or I do not have the right
No,
number?
you have the
here?
right sheet. That's what the projected surplus is at this point, but it will change
Right, yeah.
between now and Friday. Hopefully going up. It should not go
Going
down.
up?
Yeah,
Huh.
we have the reimbursement from the Lydia Tapcott Library coming,
Right, that's
which is
few thousand.
$3,783.25. And then there are some cash receipts, probably less than $200, that have come in that just haven't been reported yet. And any taxes that Pam collects between now and then.
Any other questions on that?
No, but maybe we could have bought a loader for the tractor if we had this surplus. Where'd Lee go?
Okay. All right, well, then, any other discussion about correspondence for information?
Because Steve Jarasak is already on the DRB, can we just make that change? I mean, we don't have to advertise that or anything.
It's already advertised, so what we do is we just go about doing our interviews, and then at that point,
We can change
we
his
can decide if we want to move him up
Okay,
or put somebody else there, so.
all right.
So we can, that will be our next meeting. Let's see, correspondence for discussion and or action. We have a letter from Tara Bossard Kruger. And I was wondering if you had anyone who would like to respond to her.
Could you tell the TV what it was all about? Because I read the letter and it's really
a
great.
young girl who's asking for more, who's concerned at all the bottles and trash she sees on the side of the road. So, recommended that we place more trash cans around. She'd also like more parks. And maybe some jungle gyms. And there was
Something with animals.
something else. Yeah, well, she thought animals would enjoy the parks also.
She's 8.5 years old, right?
Yes, yes. Maybe we should have done this while Lee was here, but
Should have done it while the sheriff was here. Tell him to start catching these litter
Yeah.
trucks.
yeah, that's
Take care of the
The
problem.
problem with the trash cans, the same thing the state found, is
Yeah.
the disposal. Once you put a trash can there,
mhm.
you end up with truckloads of debris there.
And mattresses.
Yep.
And that's why the
They won't
state
fit
put
in the
them
garbage
at the
cans.
They
pull-offs.
should be fit beside
Next.
them.
Yeah.
Great, sounds like a great idea on the surface, but we better budget some money for disposal.
Right, and I
Because they
don't know if
become
the people who are
dump
throwing the bottles along the side are going to make use
Use the
of a trash can, but,
But she should have a nice answer.
she should, yes, and,
Bill writes a really
Bill
good letter.
does write, he's who I had in mind.
Over the top of the
A
glasses.
nice touch.
Well, we might advocate for quarterly green-up days rather than annual ones.
Yeah, you know, it's so frustrating. You go out green up days, we all do.
Yeah.
And the next day,
It's all
somebody
over.
throws trash in the room. It's just, there's not anything you're gonna do about it.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
if you're not enthusiastic, then I'll be happy to do it, but you do have a nice touch.
You're
He
bad.
does, he does.
You're bad, Zeke. You've turned on me. Okay,
All right.
done.
Good. Okay, so we have a letter or a contract from the Wyndham County Humane Society that they would like us to sign. There was some changes
Yeah.
that I
Yeah,
thought,
she never responded to me, so
so we could
table it till next
table it
meeting.
till next week. Right, and,
There was you had the pencil mark on it that,
yeah,
my wife,
there's a section where, you know, who, let's see. animal control, town
Throw 'em
officials, the police can bring animals, and then the members of the public, but
Oh,
it
right.
needs to be
Right.
okayed by a town official.
Right.
Um,
And it didn't say that in there, right?
Right, it
Just
said
said
in
members
last
of-
year's contract we had that, but they
And the
didn't.
same thing happened last year, we had to
Yeah.
send it back and have
Yeah.
them count it.
And then there's the issue of impoundment fees. And I think Lori looked it up, was trying to find it today, but when someone picks up an animal that's been taken there, they pay a fee that covers the cost to Wyndham County Humane Society. And the town is able to also have an impoundment fee. And if we were to have one, it might help cover some of the costs that we have, because we were $100 over the budget this year.
The other question I had was, I wish we could lay our hand on that
We could
contract
do-
quickly, but
Discussion,
we had hit
I
the
mean,
right
for
button.
action.
When an animal comes in and it needs medical treatment, for the first 5 days, I think we were responsible.
Let's see.
It seems like that could get quite expensive. I don't know, I wonder what the control could be on that, or should I find that, or can you?
Yeah,
Something about the first 5 days it comes in, there's the boarding fee, the transportation fee,
yeah,
and
then,
medical expenses.
right, I think that,
And then if it's euthanized,
yeah,
um,
right.
I wondered if how you would control medical expenses.
Yeah, we haven't had a problem that I can remember, but
Could be substantial.
yeah, injured or sick animals requiring immediate transportation or medical evaluation, we're supposed to take care of. If we take an animal there and they decide it needs more than just, they can do some things there. If it needs to be taken to a veterinarian, the town will be responsible for any bills incurred, including boarding, medication, and transportation.
And not be reimbursed by the owner?
If it's an animal that the
Oh,
owner's found.
But if it doesn't get claimed
Yeah.
in 5 days,
I can call and just clarify that. If it's then put up for adoption, would the person adopting it pay or?
I just could see
Yeah,
that
surgery
being
or
a
something.
significant expense sometime.
It could put a big dent in the $500 budget that we
Well,
have.
like one cat might take care of it, you know.
This isn't the first time this issue's come up.
Right.
A bottomless pit of
Right.
expenses. Somehow it doesn't seem to have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd hate for it to.
To happen. No, I agree. I'm not
I'll
disagreeing.
call
I'm just
and
saying.
just ask them,
Yeah.
if the animal's then adopted out, do the new owners pay that?
Okay.
And we could be thinking whether we want to have, some fee for animals that the town would then collect, which we could then put into this budget. And we'll deal with this at our next meeting.
Good idea.
All right. New business. Maybe we can go to other business and then here,
Unfinished
Unfinished
business?
business.
unfinished.
Got it.
Where'd that go? Oh.
These two
I was trying to make up for that, highway report. What about, we could hear, Bill talked with Lou to get his thoughts on that, letter, and you talked with Alex Wilson, or have some information on the West River Trail.
I do.
Yeah. Wanna-
Okay. After our last meeting, I did speak with Alex Wilson. Just yesterday, I spoke with Kathleen White, who serves on the steering committee for the West River Trail group. Actually, I spoke with Mike, I guess about a week ago also, and I recognize how limited his space is in the articles and that he writes for the Reformer so well. We had an email from Isha Williams, just wanting the board to support, the West River Trail, and I responded by saying I believe we were supportive of the West River Trail and make a my recollection of our conversation 2 weeks ago was the board is behind the concept of the West River Trail. I rode my bike into work with Geraldine Wilson, Alex's wife, on Friday, and she suggested it might be helpful if I were, she said Alex was writing a letter to the editor and suggested it would be helpful if I did the same. I did write a letter to the editor on Sunday. I emailed it to Zeke and to Alex. I think it might be helpful if I just go ahead and read it, if that's okay. Said at the last meeting, the Dummerston Selectboard, the other members of the board joined me in expressing our support of the West River Trail. As the article in the Reformer on June 19th stated, there are questions about the ownership of the trail between its current terminus on Rice Farm Road and the marina and its future route north of Rice Farm Road. It does not make sense that a large tract of land that has not been on the grand lists of Brattleboro or Dummerston for more than 70 years could be purchased for a nominal amount. Since the existing trail has been used for more than 15 years, apparently without the permission of the landowners, the public may have acquired a prescriptive easement to use the existing trail corridor. None of those landowners have objected to the current trail, so its ownership may never be litigated. The Friends of the West River Trail may decide that a prescriptive easement makes more sense than outright ownership with the resulting property taxes. As we all know, nonprofit entities' tax-exempt status does not confer exemption from paying property taxes. Our hard-working listeners should not be criticized by those writing letters to the editor for doing their job. Some of you may remember there was an article in the Saturday paper, I believe, criticizing Dummerston officials.
Right. I thought they were talking about you.
I think they were talking about that. I think it was referring to Doug Hamilton. When I say recreation trails have enhanced Stowe, Springfield, and Northampton and communities across our country, studies have shown they usually are not safety concerns for the adjacent landowners and can actually enhance property values. It makes sense to locate the current trail north of Rice Farm. It makes sense to locate the trail north of Rice Farm Road along larger tracts and conserve properties. We're confident that the Friends of West River Trail will make every effort to do so. So there are really two issues. One, who owns the trail? I don't think it's ever going to be litigated, and the Friends of the West River Trail does not want to do that. And again, the current landowners, I don't think are objecting to that.
I think they are. I think that's what brought a lot of this on. Because
Only at the point at which it reaches,
Yeah, it's I think the folks along Quarry Road and Rice Farm Road are the ones that signed the petition.
right.
And that's what I was going to say next. It's where does it go north? And what Alex Wilson said is that that's all on hold.
yeah.
Yeah.
South, I rode it myself last week. The trail where it dumps out at the marina.
Right.
And it's very steep hillside, and then a little bit of a road bed, railway bed, and then the river, for the most part. So no one would build there.
Right.
It's not a concern until it gets near the Green Iron Bridge.
Right. Yeah, I think the challenge they're going to have really is, I mean, there's obviously been a lot of development over the last 80 years, and to go across the river and up through West Dummerston and Newfane would present some real challenges. And I suggested to Alex it would be, they'd be a lot better off if they stayed on the east side of the river all the way up to Brookline. Because out past where we live, it's there's no roads at all, all the way up to Brookline. There's other questions about where do they go on Camp Hardin Road, and, Quarry Road and Rice Farm Road. But what I said, and Alex said also, is that they're really looking to get on nature conservancy land and some of the other larger tracts, and not, along the properties that the people that signed the petition.
Then the other thing on that letter, I don't ever remember saying I supported it or was against it. I don't recall any of us. But
Well, I saw a lot of nodding heads. Was that the sentiment that the board supports the West River Trail?
I have no objection to it.
I'd like to see it
I
moved,
like
so
it.
it's not
You'd like to see it
private
moved?
property, so it would certainly be better on conserved land and people's land that want to participate in it rather than it going up the road bed, the old train bed that people are upset about.
I understand. Okay. I guess what I was talking
There's probably a
about.
little issue too with you representing this, being a contributor to it too. I think you want to be careful there.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I understand that town official, and I don't really think that presents a conflict. The issue, I guess my question is, does this board support the current route of the trail?
I like the idea of having the trail. I hope they can resolve their issues with the landowners, the issues with the listers as to whether, you know, what's the status of this in terms of the grand list. And I think south, there have been some landowners who have had concerns. And I think the West River Trail, some of their representatives did not do a good job in approaching some of these landowners and caused some bad feelings.
Right.
So I would hope that these issues could be resolved, and that there can be a trail, and that the landowners, you know, who own land this trail goes through will be satisfied with, you know, it can come to some accommodation with the two groups.
Right. I asked Alex Wilson whether any of the landowners on the existing trail, if you will, have objected to the trail being there, and he told me no. One thing that I thought was interesting,
Okay.
well, and they asked, Alex and Kathleen asked if it would be appropriate for them to come to a board meeting. And I said, well, you know, you're welcome to. I said, I don't know that there's anything on our plate, if you will. I didn't think that there was any need for them to come. I mean, they have offered to do that. I have I read the booklet that Doug had with all the history, and what happened is the ICC abandoned the Interstate Commerce Commission abandoned the railroad back in the 30s, at which point any rights, be it fee simple or easement, reverted to the landowners. I thought it was interesting when the interstate went through, which is only 25 years later, and I'm sure that the interstate did a title search. I don't think anything was acquired from the railroad, if you will, Salzburg or whatever the name was. And again, it's, you know, what Bob Fisher has said, and he represents this town and the town of Brattleboro, is that they don't own anything. Which, as I said, it's, I think, maybe the best thing for them.
But didn't you at the last meeting say that you knew somebody had purchased the right-of-way through there?
Yeah, and I hadn't read all of that at that point. What happened was, what I've heard is Jason Cooper went down to New York and wrote a check for what they thought, you know, and they still think that they own the land. But as I looked at it, I don't believe they do. I agree with Bob Fisher on this, and even their attorneys, you know, have sort of hedged.
So really, we're kind of ahead of the horse here with the cart, because they need to do their work to find a prospective path through properties that people are comfortable with them going through.
Right, and it only, you know, Alex has said, that's where they're looking for is nature conservancy land, and they've been very receptive, apparently.
But that only gets them a little ways.
Right.
Are they optimistic that that's available?
Yes.
They are, okay.
Yeah, at least nature conservancy land, but you're right. If they're going to connect all the way to Londonderry, they've got some real challenges ahead of them.
On the east side of the river,
Right.
north of where the railway used to cross into West Dummerston Village.
Exactly. Yeah, and as I said, I think they'd have some real challenges on the west side. But I really hope I did not represent this board, because my recollection from the last meeting is that everybody light to the idea of the West River Trail, and I certainly did not mean to misrepresent any of you.
Jody Wilmington.
I was really disappointed in the last meeting that somebody from the trail was not here. There's a lot of hearsay on both sides of this.
I think it was just the listers were presenting their information on it.
But I would like to have these people come to the select board and give their position on it too. The other thing that I wanted to say is I was really disappointed in some of the comments from the listers that I thought were really out of place last week, and were not in their bailiwick of being listers. And
Well,
somebody made, I didn't see the letter in the
If you're
paper.
going to make comments about them, maybe we should have the
Well,
listers here.
Yeah, they should be
To
here too.
respond to your
But
comments.
some of the comments were out of line, I thought, and, which is too bad. Some of the comments like, well, they're going to have a big tax bill, and I also didn't know who they were representing, because it seemed like they were representing the people who signed the petition. And they're not, that's not their job.
I think they know that that's not their
So it really, that kind of bothered me, and I didn't read the letter in the Reformer. I'm curious as to what that was. I'll have to go
It
back
wasn't
and
very
look.
nice of the select board in Dummerston.
It wasn't, and it was in Saturday, it was in Saturday's paper?
Yes.
I'll have to go
I always
back
say
and-
it's easier to write something when you disregard the
I think it
facts.
was earlier in the week.
Yeah, wasn't it Thursday or Wednesday?
Yes.
But this trail is great. I mean, right now I'm preparing to take my granddaughter over to Keene because they have a fantastic trail system over in Keene, and we don't really have anything over here to ride except for that West River Trail, and I've ridden it with my granddaughter.
With the
And-
We
bicycle?
heard that.
With a bicycle, yes, and you talked to her, I fell off and went over the bank and the poison ivy, whatever.
It's a little rugged in some
It
places,
is a little rough.
especially this year with all the rain.
But it would be really nice to have something, and I think what we're talking about right now is just what's already on the books right now, rather than the future type of thing.
I mean, it isn't like we don't have any recreational trails. I mean, there's walking trails in Dummerston already. There's snowmobile trails in Dummerston. There's the Thorndikes walking up onto the hill
Yeah.
there. I mean, I don't want to leave an impression here that we don't do anything for trails and things, because we do quite a bit in
Well,
Dummerston.
it's very difficult for bikes, and it's very difficult for a lot of
Very
things.
different for any of them.
Yeah, so.
Okay. All right. So,
That's all I have.
any other questions for Joe? Okay, thank you for looking into that.
There are a couple of things that we had agreed to go take a look at Route 30
Yes,
at the Green Iron
Yes.
Bridge, so I did do that. And
excellent, good.
I would say the only sign is south by maybe 100, 150 yards. A yellow sign that indicates that there's a road, a turn up ahead, a 90-degree turn. And the bridge narrows considerably just before there, so I don't think it's feasible to do anything in the way of a turn lane
Yeah.
going north.
Mhm.
And there's very little, it would be very dangerous. It probably already is dangerous because people do pass on the right to get around somebody who may have a turn signal on for the Green Iron Bridge coming south on Route 30. But there's no signage from the north.
I didn't see any signage from the
Nothing.
north either, yeah.
Right. And it's this time of year is the toughest time of year going north on 30 to see the bridge. But if you're looking for it, you can see it as a result of some of the trimming that's been done there. So I can understand how it's a safety hazard, but it also is not one easily solved unless you wanted to reduce the speed limit.
You go 10 miles over there, what's the
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Uh,
10 or 12?
Yeah.
If you only allow them to turn right, it would be safer.
Coming north on 30?
No, if you're coming out of the Green Iron Bridge,
Oh,
only allow
I
them
see.
to turn right.
I see.
I mean, if you're turning left and somebody's coming either way and you're coming in, you got a problem.
Yeah.
If you only allow them to turn right, it's much easier to go. They could go quicker and they could go to a place that's safer to turn around. That would be safer. That would get people through it and out of there quicker. And that would be simple. There's lots of places where I think we should only be able to turn right for safety reasons. but that's one that would improve it there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I looked at it from the perspective of coming out of the bridge. Although whenever I do, I'm very careful to make sure there's nobody coming.
I think the letter we got, or the email, whatever what prompted this discussion was somebody was coming south on Route 30
yeah.
in the evening and couldn't find the
The
bridge.
bridge, yeah.
That's what prompted the discussion. And that's why, Bill went over and I went over, and he's right, there's no left turn. There are reflectors at the end of the bridge, but you almost got to be square with the bridge to see them.
Right, so maybe we
Are there
could-
reflectors on the bridge that you can see at night when you're coming down Route 30? Because
I don't think so.
No.
You almost got to be
If we
driving right
squared
at
up
the
the
bridge.
I mean, I've been
perpendicular.
there and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
You're wondering, you want to try to get to it with a snowplow.
Well, I would think the only people going on that road at night, would be locals. I looked
Not
at
with GPSs anymore. I don't think you can assume that anymore.
Right, and the person that wrote that email
Is a local.
It's a local, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I looked at it also, but going south, I mean, there's this big yellow sign, right on the right, just before the bridge.
It doesn't say bridge though.
No, I understand.
It says road
Right.
narrows, I
Right,
think.
right.
It's not the kind of sign that draws your attention if you're somebody who drives that road constantly.
Right.
There should be a turn sign coming south like there is one north.
Mhm.
I don't think it would help much, but
Mhm.
there should be one going both ways. I don't know if we can
Yeah.
ask Lee to have AOT look into that, but I don't know that it'll help seeing the bridge, but you know you're close.
we could maybe
Good
ask.
question. How long has it been open and is there an accident history there?
No,
Does anybody know?
I think so.
I don't know.
That would be interesting. The state will probably know that because we know of places where they drag them off there all the time. Is that one? I don't think so, but who knows?
I don't think since it's been reopened.
Not that we want them to,
Right.
Yeah, my concern is really just when the covered bridge is closed, you've got so much more traffic going through there. Because I don't think there's that much traffic across the Green Iron Bridge.
I would never suggest that I'm particularly attentive, but I can't remember a major accident in my lifetime
Time to move on.
of anybody getting on or coming off that bridge.
I vote for Tom.
As long as we don't get jinxed tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All right.
I have another thing here.
Yes, okay.
You remember we got a letter from Lou Sorensen?
Yes.
And it was generally agreed by us that it was a list of complaints is not the right term, but I can't find one right now. And we all
I'd
agreed
say
that
it was a very concise note with objections
objections.
to the, boy, now I'm going to need help.
Planning commissions.
Planning commissions,
So
corridor
they're
report.
working,
Yeah.
they're working their plan in progress.
So I was the one who agreed to contact Lou to see if he would be willing to meet and offer some
Elaborate on it. yeah.
positive suggestions. And we met for an hour and however many minutes late that other meeting started, an hour and 7 minutes. And he went through very articulately his list and combined several of the items, which was helpful. Ultimately, what came out of that is that his belief, and Greg Brown came to the meeting as well. Lou asked if he could come, I said certainly. That the current work of the Planning Commission lacks detail, particularly in what is commercial land in both of those corridors, and that the residential commercial designation for large swaths is too broad a paintbrush. We also agreed, but weren't really sure how to approach this with the public, but that the people in town probably deserve to know what his ideas are and that they may not. So that possibly we should write something, somebody should write something, not with the intention of necessarily swaying opinion, but saying there's an alternative viewpoint out here, and it, with much more specificity, identifies what's commercial property in the corridors.
Let's see, the planning commission had 2 informational meetings recently. You were at one.
Yes. Yeah, Greg went to one,
Yeah.
he said.
Mhm.
I went to one, you were at it as
Yeah.
well, Steve.
And then, so they're going to take comments they got there. If he were to, then they're going to have working meetings to try to evaluate the comments they've heard and suggestions and
Yeah.
make changes to their plan,
If any.
if any.
Right.
And he might,
I don't think he's going to, and I can understand, he's been snake bit a little bit lately, my terminology.
okay.
Although he agreed with a nod when I used that terminology. So I think he was really looking for somebody else, possibly me, to try to articulate his position, that position. And maybe with an article for the Views, maybe with something to the chair of the Planning Commission. I don't know yet. That looked like the likely
I think the
venue.
venue to do would be the
Yeah.
plan, because it's in the planning commission's hands right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They'll be the ones who are going to put this together
Right.
and have a public hearing, and then tweak it again before they...
Let me contact Sam then,
Yeah.
on behalf of Lou, just because it didn't seem like, I think Lou was looking for someone to help. Of course, he would love to have select board support, but I didn't feel in that meeting or with this group that this is at all the time for the select board to step forward and be seen as attempting to influence planning commission operations. I think we've taken the opposite approach to that consistently on that issue. So, you mind me getting in touch with?
I don't mind.
I just have one thought here. I mean, can anybody write a letter to you and get your ear and have you present their position? I guess I'm a little concerned.
I would hope anybody could write a letter, an email, or stop me anywhere, because I'm a
I
town
don't mean you
official.
particularly, but it just
No, any
seems
of us, yeah. Whether or
everybody
not-
has had the opportunity to present their thoughts to the corridor committee, to the planning commission, to the open hearings.
Mhm.
I'm a little concerned, whatever. It just-
No, go ahead.
It
Go ahead.
just seems odd that we're now gonna represent one person's thoughts when we've had 2.5 years of collecting information.
Mhm.
That's all. I just,
Well, again,
so the next person comes forward, then maybe I have to present their thoughts, and the next person, Zeke, has to present theirs.
Mhm.
They should be presenting their information to the planning commission during the planning process, would be my thought, but, just my
I
thought.
think, we got his note, and because it was so brief, it wasn't a really useful piece of information from a fellow that we know has, valuable information and good ideas. And so that was the idea of trying to get him to elaborate a bit, to make his points a little more.
I think I was a decent listener, for a change.
But I do think it's the planning commission is the one that needs to deal with his input right now,
Okay.
or anyone else's input on it right now.
I think, Bill, you could write the letter all you want. I mean, any one of us can write a letter that we want to write. It's just representing yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, so I don't think you have to ask the select board here for permission or anything, or their blessing to write a letter. You know, that's up to you to do it as yourself.
Citizen.
Right,
No, I wasn't seeking select board
right. So, I mean,
support for it, yeah. Just saying that the tenor of our meeting suggested that. I think Lou thought that it might be, it would be a good idea if the townspeople could. And again, there had been a lot of meetings. And I would say the same people who showed up at a meeting however long ago in the basement of the church were essentially the same people that showed up at the first meeting at the community center, which prompted me to say I'm not going to the second one because the same people will be there and I will hear the same things for the third time, which may not have been the right thing to do either, but I didn't go to the second meeting.
No,
Did you go to the second meeting?
Yes, I have nothing else to do.
I guess I do
I
have,
always go to the meetings.
Now that the sheriff's taking care of your dogs for you? Okay.
I guess I do have a question for you. Greg Brown and Lou were there. I mean, was there information they were giving you the same as the report they had given to the planning commission? Or, I mean, I guess,
Some of it was, yes. Lou had a map.
and I mean, that's what I'm just wondering if that had changed. I mean, and if it had changed,
I don't think it has, no.
then I would think he would want to go present it. But if it hasn't changed, I mean, that information, they're already working with it. So, you know, I mean, if it's changed, then I would strongly urge him to go and speak with them. But if it hasn't changed, I think they've got that information. But
I'll contact, I'll get back to Lou and talk with him about it. That's all
I
right.
felt a little
You felt a
zephyr
breeze.
of wind, and I thought it must be someone waving their hand.
If I remember correctly, some of those things that Lou from your meeting mentioned had to do with state guidelines and Wyndham regional guidelines. So it wasn't all just the stuff that he had previously done before, I think. But I don't have that in front of me from that meeting.
right, the reason I was talking about the maps because I know that when at least I was told one of the meetings they had somebody from Wyndham Regional at the
They
meeting,
did.
and they
had-
asked them if this was proper to do it this way, and they said it, you know, they saw no problem with it. And I think one of Lou's things was he said that, and I'm not quoting him, but I think one of the things was that this doesn't follow
Yeah.
the guidelines Wyndham Regional has
You're
set.
correct, I think that was one of the
And,
things.
and I think when they were at the meeting, somebody did ask if this did follow. And it
I was at that meeting and I can't remember exactly what, and he was the head of Wyndham Regional,
Right.
Chris
It's the same
Hampton.
thing.
Yeah, so I mean, and so I'm not, like I said, I wasn't at the meetings, but I was told that somebody had asked if it did follow their guidelines.
And I was at a meeting with Wyndham Regional personnel when they reviewed Dummerston's town plan, and it had that current use map, that map in with the town plan, and there wasn't any problem there approving our current town plan with that map,
The current use map?
the
Land
zoning
use.
map that comes with the town plan.
Oh, okay.
That was all reviewed, there was nothing wrong. Lou's letter was, I think, addressed that our town plan might not meet state statute, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the letter in front of me.
That's essentially it, though, Steve.
But I was at a meeting with Wyndham Regional representatives and another planning commission member when I was on the planning commission. They had reviewed the town plan. We spent 2 hours here one evening and they approved the town plan.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think-
find it odd that now there's a legal issue with it.
I think the town plan is not the problem. I think it's the following it through with the land, the zoning, the map that has the zoning things on it, which is totally different from your town plan.
Right, and that's the one I think that they was asked at that
With the
meeting,
map.
was about the map, if the
I
map,
can't remember.
yeah. So,
And
But I'm-
I remember talking about Chester, distinctly talking about when Wyndham Regional came into a planning commission meeting and they seemed to think that told us that you could do kind of anything that you hope to as long as it anything you want to, as long as it kind of matched your town plan. In our original meeting with them with the corridor committee.
You do have to use the town plan as a guide. So, and some of these things I don't think are using the town plan as a guide, and I think that's some of the issues.
Your opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
We never did this.
Oh, it's next on my, jumping around a little, but I almost was ready to go home without awarding a bid for the fiscal year 2013 outside audit.
I would have reminded you.
What?
I would have reminded you.
Oh, good.
Joe, were you going to review these? Were you
I
and
did
Bill
review
reviewing them? And did you have a recommendation after reviewing them?
That's okay.
I want to get out of here.
Well,
Did the auditors, did you talk to the auditors?
Wait, speaking
Okay.
out of turn, come on.
I know, but you stopped looking at me.
the way I remember these is we've got the Montpelier group and we've got the Greenfield group.
I know.
I looked it over.
Bill read them, and I read
Yeah.
them. I read them a couple of times because I didn't have.
Okay.
There was no meeting.
You were bored.
And I respectfully disagree with Bill's decision on this. I thought the Greenfield proposal was clearly superior. They were going to spend more hours. They concentrate on this area of work. I guess part of me said, well, you want to award it to a Vermonter, but then I was thinking, well, they're 120 miles away, and whereas we've got another group that's 25 miles away or 30 miles away. They're what, $100 apart, not significant, but my recommendation, I'd be glad to put this in motion, is that we award the contract to Mellon Keith and company from Greenfield.
What's your take on it?
My take somewhat altered, having come into this office and finding out that Lori had looked at both of these and from her viewpoint had a very definite choice, which was my choice and not Joe's choice. My objection to the Mellon Heath and Company, it seemed punitive to me. It almost seemed like they were litigiously looking for things, and not that you're not supposed to look at the
Audit,
things.
for crying out
Well, I know, but
It's not fun.
in a way to get somebody into trouble or to be punitive. That's what I thought about that one. And I didn't look at where they were from purposely. I knew ahead of time that one was from Greenfield, one was from, I thought, Barry. But when I reviewed these, it is Barry. No, Barry Street in Montpelier. So, but anyway, I went right by that and got into the material that was inside. So I liked Sullivan Powers and Company. And Laurie, if Zeke will allow it, you probably should speak to it because it affects you.
I've been to several seminars where Fred Duplessis, who's the head of Sullivan and Powers, has done presentations, and I was very impressed by him. His knowledge of small town government. They specialize in Vermont audits. Westminster has used them for, I believe, the last 14 years and are very pleased with them. And Doreen is a stickler. So if she's pleased with working with them, I respect her opinion. One potential issue with Melanson and Heath is that they want all the financials submitted to them in electronic form before they start working on it. And not everything, I mean, I can convert everything into electronic form, but it will be very time consuming. Whereas I believe Sullivan and Powers is just going to come down here and work. So I mean, I'll be happy to work with whomever you choose, but Sullivan and Powers would be my preference.
Can I ask a question? Joe, did you make a motion?
That's what I was going to ask. He said he
Yes,
did.
he did.
He said he would, but he didn't say he did.
You're right.
All right, I just didn't know.
Yeah, I will make a motion.
Nice.
Sure.
So I read them, and I was impressed with both. I saw your comment and about this one being punitive, and so I didn't get that on reading through it, so I read through them again. And I guess this one saying they'll do 131 hours, this one 100 hours. I think this one will do more, let's see, is it background work or something? Where is that?
Melanson.
Melanson.
They like to start 2 months before the end of the fiscal year, which is physically impossible
Yeah.
to do in summer. Going through procedures, etc.
The list of towns was impressive, I thought, with both of them. The main difference being, the Sullivan's doing Newfane, I think they're doing Putney, they're doing Jamaica, they're just a lot of towns in Vermont, smaller size. This one is doing Burlington, I think. Different scale, I think.
Interesting, they're only 35 miles from Montpelier.
Oh. So.
I should say also about both of these that you get all the way to Exhibit E before you discover exactly what the companies are going to provide for you.
Yeah.
All the rest of it is firm and staff profile, firm experience, resumes, quality review report of the company. Then it gets to, here's what we will do for you. So over half this document is quasi, irrelevant to what we're looking for. But I don't have a problem with either one, but my inclination would be to stay with Sullivan and Powers.
Want to make that a motion?
Especially because Lori prefers it.
I don't make the decision.
Well, I mean,
No, you don't need to.
the icing on the
The
cake.
auditors-
I'll make a motion.
The auditors prefer
I'll second it.
Sullivan.
My question was if you heard from the auditors.
Jean
Only
preferred
from Jean.
From Jean.
Only from Jean, but she preferred Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, she sent an email to us
Uh-huh.
just today,
Oh, okay.
saying that she preferred, with no reason.
Zeke, can we have discussion on it now? We have
We have a motion.
We have a motion to...
We have a second.
And a
to,
second? Yes, let's have some discussion.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
to award the audit, just a minute, to Sullivan Powers and Company? And you said no.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay?
All right. It seems like Sullivan Powers has the...
So if I draft them a letter, would you stop by tomorrow to sign it?
Anytime.
Thank you. I
If
have
you
something
want
under...
to do it tonight, I'll stick around.
Oh, no, thanks. I have something under other business though.
There's nothing under other business on my agenda here, but...
The select board's going to need to hold a special meeting next week to set the 2014 tax rate.
I was wondering when, I was thinking it was about that time.
Yeah, the listers are sending the grand list to the state tomorrow. So we should probably have something back Monday or Tuesday of next week.
I was going to ask, Monday or Tuesday, please.
Well, we have to have time to, I mean, if we get it back Monday, we could do the meeting on
Oh,
Tuesday.
I see.
Because we have to get all the information together. Thursday's a holiday. 4th of July.
And when are you Oh, you're around for another
Yeah.
next week, okay. All right, so,
If it's the following week, Monday or something, is that, oh, shoot, I can't, no, I can't.
That would be the 8th.
We usually do that during the day, don't we?
yes,
Yeah.
it usually doesn't take long.
No, but we're gonna be in Wardsboro working.
It doesn't have to be during the day, we've done it in the evening before.
I was just trying to make it so it wasn't so crushed on you to be ready Wednesday or something, but.
The
How about if I
BCA
let
is
you know
meeting
it's-
at 4:30 on the 8th.
Oh,
Can we do it the same day?
I guess that's what I'm suggesting.
Well, it's fine with me,
The 8th is Monday?
yes. Right.
I just won't be in town. We're gonna be in Wardsboro, unless you're doing it in the evening.
But, well, that's what we're saying.
Oh,
The
yeah.
BCA meets at 4:30. So after that,
Mm-hmm.
call it 5:30. Is that okay? Or
I think the BCA is going to just take an hour.
6 o'clock?
Unless Lori thought we could do it like Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon this week or something.
how about if I let you know as soon as the information comes back, and as long as we warn it 24 hours ahead as a special meeting, we're good to go.
Let's see, gee, I don't want to inconvenience, our loyal following here.
I'll give them 24 hours. on
Okay.
this.
Same as everybody. Tuesday, if we can get it done that fast, is the best day for me next week.
Okay,
Okay, that would be Tuesday the 2nd. Is that what you said?
Yes,
Okay.
Tuesday the 2nd or Monday the 8th.
we'll let you know.
And
Okay.
Tuesday the 2nd would be during the day? No, is that hard for you, Louis?
Doesn't matter to me when it is.
Okay,
So maybe end of the
whatever. Yeah,
Late
Tuesday,
afternoon.
whatever works.
Like
Tuesday.
3?
afternoon, or how about we just do it the next rainy day?
That would be ideal.
We'll see tomorrow, Friday.
Yeah,
Monday.
Yeah, it looks like the next 8 days.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay, so.
keep
you
in
let us
touch.
know. Yeah.
We're
All right.
looking at Tuesday the 2nd or Monday the 8th, late day.
If it were the 2nd, I'd prefer not late,
Not late?
not late, 3:40 would work for me. But
If
Okay.
it's Tuesday, I just assume do it at 3, so.
Well, there, just spoken.
And again, the BCA's meeting on the 8th
Right.
at 4:30, right?
Mhm.
So if it was after that,
Or even
Steve might be able to
before
make it.
we met at
Yeah,
4.
5:30 I can make it.
Oh, you're
I'd
good.
really like to make the meeting if we could, but if I can, I can, so.
No, let's try to find a time when everyone can go.
Yeah, after, Tuesday.
How
is
about
fine.
5 o'clock in the morning?
That's actually
That's fine
ideal.
with me.
What would be safe?
How would me?
Make it 5:15,
No basketball?
All right.
not on Tuesdays and
Do
Thursdays.
we have any other unfinished business, new business, anything else come before this board?
See you all tomorrow.
I will not be here tomorrow.
What's happening? Oh, yes, that's, all right,
You're not gonna make it, Liz?
all right. Then I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
Aye.